Welcome to the Virtual Campfire. My name is Sydney Williams, author and founder of Hiking My Feelings, and I'm so glad that you're here. The Virtual Campfire started as a replacement for what we were missing on the trail during the pandemic in 2020. We wanted to be sharing stories and listening to music and having conversations about hard topics at the end of a long day, shared in some of the most beautiful places in the world. In the absence of that, the Virtual Campfire was born, and 50-something episodes later, we're still here. And this season, we're doing things a little bit differently. Over the course of the next few episodes, we're going to be sharing stories from people who have been through our 12-week online program called Blaze Your Own Trail to Self-Love. Now, if you've been watching the Virtual Campfire or listening to the podcast from the beginning, you'll know that this program was launched after our initial 20 episodes of the Virtual Campfire. This program took everything that we had planned to do on the road in 2020 on my book tour through the US and Canada, workshops, retreats, overnights, group hikes, all of those things, and put them into a 12-week program that was available online so we could stay connected during the pandemic. Now we are getting ready to start our fourth class of this program on August 21st, and we couldn't think of a better way to get people hyped up about it, bring awareness to what we're doing, and share the stories of how this program has impacted real human lives than to bring on some of the people that have been through the program themselves. So I hope you have a nice, comfortable seat. I hope you have a beverage of choice, maybe a cozy blanket, maybe a journal. You never know what you're going to hear that you might want to jot down. So have a seat, sit back, relax. Unless you're driving, then keep doing what you're doing. But we hope you enjoy the Virtual Campfire. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm hiking my feelings, working with all the natural healing. We are the makers of lives in our community, working to set myself free while I'm hiking my feelings.
All right, party people, I'm Sydney Williams, author and founder of Hiking My Feelings, and welcome back to the Virtual Campfire. Today, we are talking with one of my favorite humans on the whole planet, probably in the entire universe, Cindy Early. Cindy joined our class of Blaze Your Own Trail to Self-Love last year in 2021, and then she came back again this year in 2022. We like the same music. We hug and cry at concerts. It's kind of what we do. Also, for those of you that don't know, Cindy is my Starbucks alter ego. Every time I go there, they think that I say Cindy. So like, it's a whole like personality that I have. We'll get into that later at some point, I'm sure. But Cindy, welcome. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay!
And for the record, they call me Sydney at Starbucks. So I don't know. I guess are they doing that on purpose?
I think so. I think it's to mess with us. And that's really funny. We should probably go in there together and then be like, oh, it's my coffee. So to get us going, the first question I like to ask as we go through this season of the Virtual Campfire, we're matching everything up to different modules in Blaze Your Own Trail to Self-Love. And the one I picked for you is the week that we study Be Your Own Editor. And this was one of the most like revolutionary exercises I've ever done for myself. And I know that your journey with this particular worksheet and part of this module has been a roller coaster of fun and emotions and excitement. So to get us kicked off, tell me a little bit about your life, whatever you want to share, whatever part of your story you want to share that led to you finding Hiking My Feelings.
Well, I knew that where I was mentally, emotionally is not where I wanted to be. But I wasn't sure how to leave that space. And so I was looking for help, and I joined a Facebook group. I didn't join the Facebook group in search of help. I joined it because it was a love for music. It's a stick figure fan group, and it's very supportive. All the women in there are so supportive. It's so positive and uplifting. And I saw you post that you had written a book. So I thought, well, I'm going to buy this book and support a sister. And lo and behold, I loved the book. It didn't just, come home and sit on a bookshelf. I actually read the whole thing, which I do struggle with. I usually read till about 3/4 and then decide that I get the gist of it. But I actually read the whole book. And then when you announced that you were doing I think it was just a free seminar like on a Sunday, and I didn't even realize it was going to lead to a 12-week program at the time. I just thought it was a one and done thing. So I'm like, well, I can do that, which I'm kind of thankful for, because I think if I would have known it was 12 weeks, I would have been too afraid to do it. So I did it, and then found out that I liked you in person even more. Like, okay, I jive with this chick, right? I get it. We get each other. You get me, I get you, And so I joined the first time and loved it, but I kind of felt like I kind of half-assed it. I went halfway through, and then for whatever reasons, many reasons, I kind of quit going to meetings. And then once you don't go to one, it's hard to go to another one, or easier to not go, I guess. Yeah. And so then when it came around again this year, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing it this year, and I'm doing it. And I did it better than I did it last year. I didn't attend 100% of the meetings. I don't have 100% attendance, but I am doing the retreat in August. So it's leading me to being able to step way outside my comfort zone and do things that I never would have done 2 years ago. Like, never would have signed up to go to this retreat without somebody like signing up at the very same time that I did, and so I do see that, there's progress, there's things happening that are good. Yeah. Yeah. And this year I do feel like I participated a lot more, and I actually let myself cry and feel things. And last year I didn't do that. That didn't really happen. And then I would get mad because I didn't do that. So I found myself getting disappointed in myself. But I recognized that, that I was mad at myself and not other people about it. Like, why didn't somebody make me do that? And I love that you say, if you want to participate, then do, but you don't push it. So this year I had to dig and have some courage.
Yeah.
Which means you got to be vulnerable, because they kind of go hand in hand, right?
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
I think I one of the things that I admire about everything you just said, and one of the things that resonates a lot with my journey too, and I think that's probably why we get each other so well. Hi, same path. Is the part about, like, if I don't have somebody like telling me to do it, or if I don't have to turn something in, or if I'm not being forced to, or insert all the things that we just like give up on ourselves for here, then what am I doing it for? And I want to like reflect something back to you, just because like the journey that you've been on going through this program and in our friendship is a beautiful one. And what I've noticed most, like when you said that you half-assed it the first class, I don't think you did. Like, I think that you're telling yourself that story perhaps, but in my eyes, you did as much as you were comfortable doing, and you knew when to stop. And sure, like maybe you could have come to some more meetings. And I do agree, like you skip one, it's really easy not to go the next day. And that was true for me in my fitness journey before diabetes. I'd be like, oh, I'm tired. I was just like, I don't feel like working out. I wasn't even tired. I just wanted to go drink instead or something. So like, I just like wouldn't go. And then the next day I was like, well, that was pretty nice, like not going. And then you just keep not going, and it's snowballs. But one of the things that I like, just even in how you talk about it, like you're like, last year, maybe I half-assed it, but this year I didn't. And I would say that you didn't both years, but I like how you talk about it, how you talk to yourself, how you recognize, like you said, what you wish you had done differently, or what you wish you had done more of the first time around, and then brought that energy into the second one. And I think the cool thing about this program is that we get to revisit where we were last year versus where we are today. And in the context of the be your own editor exercise, I have seen, like, you took immediate liking to that. Like, you might not have liked it. You might have been, it sounds like the first class, you're like, oh, holy shit, I talk a lot of shit to myself. And there's a lot to correct. But like, what do we say in the program? The awareness is the work. So like the awareness really fueled how you came into it the second time. So tell me a little bit about your, like, the first time we went through the be your own editor exercise and how that impacted you initially in the first class.
That may be where I started missing classes.
I love that honesty. You're not wrong. And now with the hindsight goggles that you have, because you can look back and reflect on it, tell us more about that. Like, what was going through your mind at the time?
That I was having a hard time even recognizing the things, because it was just a almost like habit or muscle memory or pattern. I don't know what you'd call it, but I was hardwired to just think this, and I didn't think about thinking it, Yeah. So I would think it, and then I would just go with that. I would let that drive where I went, that emotion or that thought. And now I recognize it, like, no, you're in your head again, get out of your head. And so much, and realize what's going on here. So, and there's kind of a little flow chart where, you write down what the thought is, and then you kind of spiral it down as if it's going down the drain to the very worst possible thing is the drain, and then you kind of work back up, like, well, wait a minute, that's not actually what's happening here. Like, if the drain is nobody likes me, that's your end.
True. I like you,
thought.
So
right. So then it's like, well, that's not true. Some people do. Not everybody does. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I think that's okay too.
Yeah, 100%. So how have you seen what you've learned in this particular module impact the way you communicate with people in your relationships, with boundaries? Like, tell me about how this is, like, what your life was like before this understanding, and then what happened when you were like, oh God. Like, how did that shift things for you?
I like to control things.
And me too.
Right. And if I am at all apprehensive about being able to control the outcome, then I usually shy away from whatever it is. Like, unless I know for sure that I know what's going to happen, then I kind of don't want to participate. So I've been doing better with that, and letting go of control, letting other people's problems be their problems, quit trying to fix everybody's problems so that I don't have to look at my own stuff. Because I do that too. I jump right in. I see somebody with a need, even if they don't see their need, I do. And I'll tell them how to fix it.
Yeah. How does that work out for you? Does that usually go well? Because it doesn't work out for me.
It does not work out.
That's so interesting.
No, huh? I know. It's so weird. And now that I've quit doing that, I'm able to focus on the stuff that I need to do and do it, instead of going, oh, I'll do that later after I solve this person's problem. It's like, no, just do it now. Like, why are you making a list of stuff to do later? While you're sitting there making a list, you could just be doing the stuff,
As a person who likes to make lists, that resonates.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit called out, Cindy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, and when you have lists to organize your lists, yeah. It's a little bit of a problem, I'd say.
It's good. I like to call it a quirk until I find a way to solve it in a healthy way, and then I'll call it a nice little thing that I resolved.
There you go. I'm going to shift my thinking on that. See, this is what I need you here for.
Yeah, this is what we do. So, the premise of this work is a book called Playing Big by Tara Sophia Moore. And I, as a component to the book, like I read this as part of a program that I did. I think it was probably like right when that book was released. And as part of her bonus materials for her book, she includes this like guided meditation that takes you to meet your inner mentor. And she has you visualize like what is possible in 10 or 15 years when all your needs are met. And like, I'm looking at myself on this Zoom right now and I'm like, oh man, like that's the chick I saw in the visualization. Like I was older in the visualization. So like, I guess I got there a little faster than I anticipated, but like long flowy hair, just wearing it however she wants, comfy clothes. Like she wasn't living in a van. She was like oceanfront property. So this is like Sydney when she's a best-selling author and has money version of me. But like, I'm here, like I'm embodying that spirit a little bit. And whenever we get to do this exercise with Be Your Own Editor, the way that Tara talks about assertive communication is aligned to like in our careers. And one of the exercises we do is like this checklist of things to look for before you send an email at work. And in all reality, that can be applied to anything. Like, I'm not saying we have to go use corporate jargon with our best friends and our families in order to like sound really professional and not disqualify ourselves. But some of the language that she, like the language shifts that she talks about is like not using qualifiers. So I'm like, I'm just calling to see how you're doing. No, I'm calling you to see how you're doing. Like, why do I say just? And it's some of those things that like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm curious, was there like a phrase or a qualifier or something that stood out to you from those initial exercises where you were like, ooh, I feel called out. This is rude.
There was a couple of things. I noticed this when somebody else said something to me. I was dating this guy and I had gone to a meeting that I was attending with parents IEP meetings, which are meetings for kids with special needs, right? And I would go and take notes. So I wasn't there to give my opinion or insert anything, just take notes so they could be present at the meeting. So that's why I was there. So I get home from the meeting and it was a really heated one because some school districts really offer a lot of support and some don't. And this one didn't have a lot of resources or any support to offer. So it got pretty heated. So I get home from the meeting and I'm like, oh, I just want to unwind. And he goes, how was your little meeting? And I'm like, it just gave me the chills saying it. Cause it's like, seriously, you got to go. Bye, boy. Cause really little meeting. That's
It's so rude. It's like
so
how
rude.
Condescending. My little meeting that's
Totally.
actually really impactful and is
it was
super important
good.
for the community.
It
was
good.
I had fun on my play date while like advocating for children. Okay.
Right? Yeah.
God.
I know I don't like dig ditches like you do, but hey,
Hard work, all of it.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Like it's not manual labor, but it wasn't a little meeting, darn it.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting way to approach it too, is like, I think with a lot of things, like, especially in the context of this work, I caught myself doing it, but like my actions are harder to fix than just like noticing it in someone else. So I would notice it and the way other people communicated. And I was like, God, this is so annoying. And also it's so pervasive. Like so many of us use these words and make ourselves sound small when really we're like ginormous and smart and brilliant and should take up all the space in the world. So I'm curious, like in the context of this kind of communication and what that means for how much space you take up in your friendships and the rooms that you occupy in meetings like the ones you just described, how has this changed how you advocate for yourself and others?
Well, I have, sorry, trying to find the right words. I say things now, like instead of saying, I can't wait to see you, because I also read that book. I say I'm looking forward to seeing you, because that's really more accurate anyway,
Well, it's one of my favorite switches of all time. And it feels so much lighter.
it feels so much friendlier.
Yeah.
Anything with the word can't, won't, anything with not, or
Yeah.
just seems like it has negativity in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like you can't
looking
wait.
forward,
Okay. So you won't. Fine.
right? What are you going to leave without me?
Yeah. But if you're
Yeah.
looking forward, I'm like, shoot, yeah, me too. Like I'm psyched to see
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally changes. And it's the same, it's saying the same message basically, but it just changes how it's received. So I think that's the kind of thing, like skip the can't or the won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just skip it if you don't have something good to say.
Yeah. What was that? What movie is that from? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Was that Bambi? I feel like it's Bambi.
It was my parents.
Yeah. Oh, I tie everything to a Disney movie. I don't know where it actually originally came from, but I'm like,
Right.
Which cartoon taught me this lesson?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was more children should be seen and not heard. That's the one I heard all the time at home. Like
Ay. Well, and I think
right?
I think understanding how these different language swaps impact us in like heart to heart and face to face communications one to one. If we think about it on a bigger scale, like if we become aware of like how I don't like being like low vibe, high vibe, but like can't wait versus look forward to, there is a vibe, like it's the same message, but like, and I would never be offended by somebody who says they can't wait to see me or can't wait for this event. But it's like,
yeah.
But if there's like this underlying negative connotation because the word itself is I cannot, so like what if you can't do it, let's focus on what you can do. Well, you're looking forward to it versus you can't wait.
Yeah.
So if we think about that and like we really drill down into like how we communicate about everything, if I know that it makes me feel better to say I look forward to, and I know that you feel better when I say I look forward to versus I can't. And if these are even just like imperceptible differences, but like once it's one of those things where like we don't know that this is a thing that we feel and understand until we have the language to describe it. Like my whole life I've been like, you can't wait. Like it's always felt weird, but I didn't know what to say until I had the reframe for it. And then once I had the reframe, I was like, that's how I want to say it because that's how I want to feel when I say it. And that's how I want to feel on the receiving end of that. And if we're able to articulate these differences and then we can like reframe the way we talk about everything, then like I really think that could be a huge impact on like the smallest, tiniest scale for how we treat each other and how we perceive each other. Like,
yeah,
we're so worried about changing the world in like these big drastic ways, but like it could be as simple as like a language swap. That kind of blows my mind.
Right. It's definitely a first step, to being civil too, and I think like you see someone's post on Facebook and they're on vacation and I see a lot of people will write, I'm so jelly. I'm so jealous. It's like, I like to write things like, looks like you're having fun. Enjoy your time. It's like, why does it have to be about you and your jealousy,
Right.
I mean, go on vacation.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like, and it's also an opportunity to connect. Like if the first thing you see, and I've done this, like one of my friends had like the best thing of her life ever happen. And I woke up and I was pissed off. I was like, why not me? Like, I didn't even like congratulate her on it, but like, cause I was I was really butthurt that it wasn't my success, even though everything in my life is great. I was like, that's not mine. And I'm upset about it.
Right.
But if we take that and if we look at like somebody's going on vacation, it's such a perfect example, or somebody just bought a new house or they got a new car or it's their birthday or something awesome. Like we might feel jealous or envious. Hashtag check out Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. Let's learn the differences.
There is,
but I think like, this is why I think it's so important to do this work and to like really examine the language that we use, because what we're doing when we say I'm jealous is like, not only are we putting the attention on us and talking about like how we feel about your fun time, which we just do, it's a way to connect. And sometimes that's the emotional capacity that somebody has to give to a conversation. But what we're missing, if we can like if what we want to do is interact with each other, and all we say is I'm jealous, like how do I respond to that? Cool. Like, but if you're like, ooh, inside I'm kind of jealous, okay, that's fine. But like ultimately I'm happy for Sydney and the things that are going on. Be like, oh my gosh, what's the best food you've had at this destination? Like it's an opportunity to have a conversation and like get to know your
Right.
friends better. And it's just
And
like we're so
sometimes
short-sighted.
people struggle with posting good stuff because they feel kind of guilty, right? Same. Like I can't show people what I'm doing because I know they're at home at work and
Yeah.
I'm here in San Diego going to a show and having so much
Right.
fun. And
Yeah.
so then they post it and then they get that. It's like, well, shoot, I didn't mean to make you feel bad. You're
Right.
already struggling with this. And then somebody says that, and then it just
Yeah.
reinforces your struggle. Like,
Yeah. Well, and that's
know,
and that's the thing too, is like I have been like the perfect example of how someone who shares successes and struggles in the most beautiful way is Brendan Clemente.
yes, when you started saying it, that's immediately who came to mind.
Yeah. And
Yep.
shout out to Brendan Clemente. If you aren't already listening to his music, if you've been living under a rock and you're just like, you're waking up into this new world where now you know Brendan Clemente exists, welcome to the next chapter of your life. I love you. Slow clap for getting here, and we're excited to have you. That being said, Brendan is so like that's how I used to talk about skydiving. That's how I used to talk about how grateful I was for how fast I was moving, even if I wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to, but like my successes in my own way. I felt so good about that until somebody shit on me. And somebody was like, wow, you talk about yourself a lot. And I was like, they're right. I mean, I do. And never mind that I was doing it in a nice way. Like, never mind that like it was starting conversations and inspiring people to think about things differently and allowing
Right.
people to celebrate me. Like, who fucking cares if I talk about myself too much?
Well,
if you don't like it, keep
and like
scrolling.
the 100 people that loved your post, you don't even
Right.
think about, right?
Right.
It's
No,
the
and
one person. Yeah. Right.
And that was going to be the next one on my list of like all the irrational thoughts I had around this was like, oh, right, this one person. The
Right.
best like reframe for that I ever got was from my friend Andy Malchiotti. Shout out Andy. Hope you're doing well. He's a multi-time world champion skydiver. He invented a discipline in skydiving. Like, he is one of the coolest and most badass dudes I've ever met in my life. And when I was getting ready to leave skydiving, working at a drop zone to start my own event planning company for skydiving, he was like, Sydney, you've been playing in bars. It's time for you to go sell out some arenas. Like, you're ready. And also, don't worry about the drunk people in the alley that are trying to get in through the back door that have no business being at the show. Play to the people that are in the room. And I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
good. That's really good.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
because he's a musician and he jumps out of planes. So all of it made sense to me. And
Yeah.
so, like, no shit, Cindy. Like, I've been like, I last year went through this thing where I was like, if I'm not posting about how Hiking My Feelings is using the funds that we've raised well, then I'm not posting, because like it was the first year that we ever got donations and grants and stuff like that. And I was like, I have to prove progress. Like, nobody cares about the emotional side of things. I need to put up numbers to show investment is worth it. And like, I didn't really feel comfortable celebrating stuff because the world was still reopening, and like I'm out here hiking across the state of Michigan, and I'm like, and COVID's still a thing. Like, we're all trying to figure out how to exist in this world. And it wasn't until literally yesterday when I posted on Facebook about the retreat this weekend, I was like, short and sweet celebrations. Look at how happy all of the people in this picture are. And I was terrified to post that. And then I was like, why? This is what we need. People need to know that something like this exists where you can walk away with your face looking like that. Like,
Yeah.
why would I not tell people that? Because like somebody's probably going to not be able to go, and somehow that's going to be my fault or my problem. It's not. Like,
Right.
It isn't. Like, we do the best we can with what we got, and we're trying to make programs accessible to everybody. And if you can't get here from where you're coming from, come to the next one. Like, we're doing as much as we can with the two of us. So I was just like, it's worth it. I think it's worth the risk of feeling like I just got rejected in the middle school cafeteria
Yeah.
to like possibly experience the benefits of like being able to share this milestone with the people that do care and that do love us. Cause like, this is the fastest we've ever sold out a retreat. That was the other thing. We had a great time. Sequoia, now all of it is sold out. So like,
Nice.
this is the fastest this has ever happened for us. This is a humongous milestone. And you know what I thought about before I posted that? I thought about Brendan Clemente, and he celebrates his streams hundreds and thousands at a time. He's like, this week I got this many streams, and he's psyched about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I deserve to be psyched about what we're doing too, because I'm psyched in private. I'm psyched with you guys in BYOT, but like publicly, I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's safe to be psyched. No,
Yeah.
we got to stop that.
Yeah.
More joy for everybody. I want to be like Oprah and just like make it rain joy on everyone. Like,
right.
That's what I want. That's my new role. I'm Sydney, the joy spreader.
There we go. Okay, I'll be Gail.
Okay, great. So tell me more about your like, is there anything about this program or this module or how it's impacted your life or anything that I haven't asked that you want to share, like as a function of your experience going through and doing this work?
I just feel like putting myself out there and making myself vulnerable is what worked, and that's hard. But then once you do it and you see like the reward, then you're more willing to do it again, take that chance again. And even though sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes you get that person who decides to rain on your parade, but then you've got those other 200 people holding an umbrella for you. So,
yeah,
you just have to, I can't focus on the what if, I can't post this because someone's going to see it and get their feelings hurt. It's, why am I more worried about what somebody else thinks or what somebody else feels than what I think and feel?
Yeah.
Why is that more important? And it's tough because it's not something that you just decide. It's something that's ingrained in you through so many filters. It comes at you through so many different ways, and everybody has their own story of how they got to be where they were. But, it's definitely best to be vulnerable. It's just, you got to open up, because if you have the armor on, then it keeps stuff out, it repels stuff, but it also keeps stuff in, so
yes,
that's the thing. You got to let it out.
Well, and I think what you just talked about gave voice to one of the benefits of the program that I hadn't figured out how to say it in a way that didn't make me feel gross. And it's this: the space that we create is one where judgment is not present, and the opportunity to heal is, and support from the community is. And not all of us have a space where we can practice these things, where we can practice speaking about ourselves positively, where we can practice celebrating, where we can practice sharing things that people might rain on our parade for. And in our program, in our network, at our events, in every space that we create and occupy, virtual, in person, or otherwise, it is possible for you to practice, and there won't be anybody to rain on your parade. So you can get the practice of celebrating and not worrying about how people will respond, and get the benefit of the support that's available, because everybody that's there wants to lift you up and cheer you on.
Right. And the fact that everybody is being vulnerable, everybody is saying stuff that they're not saying to other people. Mm-hmm. So that makes it safe to do the same.
Yeah. And oh man, yes. And I think that's the most powerful part about this. And that's ultimately what we hear at the end of every class that we facilitated for Blaze Your Own Trail to Self-Love, is like, we tell you, like, I've spent the last 15 years collecting and creating and discovering these different tools and exercises that we're doing. I would never expect anybody to go in and do them once a week and come to the meetings and solve all their shit in exactly 12 weeks. That is not the expectation, nor is that a reality. And but what is helpful and what we've said in the past, but now we have new language for, is like, just come to the meetings. If nothing else, become aware of the tool. Cause we just like, we teach you how to do it. We're not going to sit down and like do it all together. And some weeks we do that. Sometimes we hold office hours and people show up to do the work. But in all reality, if you're not ready to work on that, you don't have to. But when you come in community and we're all sharing before we even get to the learning, then you have this great community of people with, regardless of whether or not you've completed the exercise, your awareness of the exercise as a resource to you and the work that you're doing to hold space for other people and then be supported yourself. That's where the magic is. The activities are great. It gives us something to discuss, but like
feeling like you're not alone in all this too. Like, oh, other people feel this way too.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's been meetings that I've come to where I come with my camera off and mute, and halfway through the meeting, I'm like, oh, F this. I got to get in on this. Because it's like, I'm just going to go and I'll just listen this week.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got something to say.
Yep. And that's the thing. And like, even I have never had anybody say, I went to the meeting and I left feeling worse. Like,
yeah,
you might have discovered something that was difficult. You might have heard somebody else's story that reminded you of something that you've been through, and that can like activate you in different ways, and that can feel scary. But knowing that you're not alone, like on the other side of the activations and like the memories that might come up, is like this validation that like, I'm feeling these things because somebody else just articulated something that happened to me, which therein means I'm not the only person. And that's so powerful. Even if you never open your mouth on a call, just listening and knowing that there are other people going through the same thing can be just so dang refreshing and like a little bit like restorative,
comforting,
as far as like, and like our faith in humanity, that like, I'm not the only person. And here we are in this space, however big or small it is, where people get it and they're like, they're here for it. And they just want everybody to feel a little bit better than they did before they got there. Ultimately, that's all we ever want as facilitators and as a community. We all just want everybody to win. Like that's it. Like, live your best life, be healthy, do whatever you need to do. And if you come and hike with us, like, even better, then we get to go celebrate. Like, I'm so excited you're coming to Sequoia. I can't stand it. Like, I know fired up.
I'm so excited too. It's going to be a whole thing, a whole road trip from Portland, and we're going to go hit Kings Canyon too. It's going to be just good times.
I love it. Well, my last question for you, Cindy, before we wrap it up here, is one that I think you might be familiar with, because I know you've tagged along on some of the live recordings of the virtual campfire, which is, if you had a magic wand and you could do it, you could use this magic wand on yourself to like fix up whatever you need to get fixed up mentally, physically, spiritually, health-wise, whatever. You could use it on society to eradicate a behavior, or better yet, maybe instill some wisdom that shifts people's perspectives. If you could use your magic wand to do anything, what would you do with it, and how would people benefit from that?
I think that I would use it to not necessarily make people more accepting, because I don't know if that's the right word, but just more at ease with other people's differences, with other people being different, and be more at ease with that and not feel threatened by that. I think that would allow for people to communicate in a genuine way and not come to a circle or come to a meeting with an agenda. You know, I mean, everybody has an agenda, but to just show up with it is kind of guarded, makes you more guarded. So I just think that having people be open to discussing things, oh, we're different because of this, but we're the same because of this. Cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do this thing while you do that thing. See you later. You know,
everything's fine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that speaks to exactly what we've been saying about the reframing from like the words cannot to like more positive things. Like, why focus on our differences when we are all so much more similar than we are different? We can focus on the similarities and find community and the things that we share and the things we enjoy and the food we like and the music we like. Like, I think the music families that I'm a part of are a great example of that. Like, there's people from all walks of life that listen to the same music that we do. And we all have something in common, and that's that music moves us. And that's a great place to start a foundation of a friendship or relationship or otherwise. So I love that. I
And
love
I
your
think
magic
our
wand.
different, I think our differences are an opportunity to learn, you know?
Absolutely. Yes.
So just learn and then take what applies to your life and let the other person keep having the rest of that stuff and
yeah.
move along.
I love it. Oh, so good. Before we wrap it up here, any one-liners that you'd like to offer or ones that stick out to you that have been helpful in your journey so far?
So many. Geez. One-liners. Stop thinking that way. Just stop. Just stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Stop. Be more mindful, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not really a one-liner, but just mindfulness, trying to be more mindful, like, of all of it.
Yeah. I like that. Everybody we're not in such a hurry, man. Just slow down. Take a deep breath. We don't need to react right away. We don't have to respond right away. We can see how we feel and then decide what we want to do with it. Like, that's really
something
chill.
Really with text and email and even Facebook posts. I'll be like, oh, nope, put your phone down. Go out in the garden and pull some weeds. Oh, now I don't even feel the need to respond at all.
Perfect.
Funny. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, Cindy, it has been an absolute honor to witness your journey coming through the program. Thank you for being such a wonderful member of our community. Thank you for showing up and demonstrating that we don't always have to talk and be seen to feel supported. We can just be there, and we're worthy of that. And I'm so excited to hike with you in Sequoia. It's going to be just absolute magic. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yay. If you're curious about how to make your next hike a bit more mindful, visit hikingmyfeelings.org/subscribe to download our free Trail Thoughts worksheets.